Hello, Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. It's 2 in the afternoon here, and we're trying something a bit different. Today, I'm going to try and go to LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube all at the same time. I've never been able to do that before yet. This is the first time. I'm hoping that I did attempt it last week, but it didn't work. So I've run some subsequent experiments. If you do want to jump in and chat, please do. It's always great to have people calling in. This is a little bit later than normal, so I'm hoping I'll pick up some people in Vancouver and LA and San Francisco and San Diego and maybe Hawaii and Hong Kong and Singapore and Perth and Auckland, New Zealand. So tell us, you love Substack and you've been using it a while, Sherry. Tell us how you use it, and you've been using it for a while. So what lessons have you learnt so far, and what can we learn from you?
Well, I mostly just use it for the podcasting that I'm doing. I make radio shows that's a bit over an hour long and featuring world literature, music, and poetry. And I'm a musician. I'm a haiku poet, and that's what I'm passionate about. And I can see a lot of like-minded people on Substack. However, because I subscribe to so many channels, I also find it a little bit annoying getting all those emails all the time.
That is what. Just in case you don't know what we're talking about, there, Substack has this inventive but relatively annoying habit of saying, "Okay, well, when you subscribe to someone's Substack, you'll get an email every time they make a comment." Which happens 10 times a day, and I'm following 50 people, so I'm probably getting 50 emails. And this is what you're talking about, isn't it? You're getting all these emails. You're getting all these emails from all these people, and it's starting to wear you down. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't actually post any other content except for my podcast at this moment. But I can see the value of this platform. Mm. And there are no ads up there, so which is really nice.
Yeah. Well, what we're hello Omar, hello Tommy. We're talking in general terms about Substack, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I have always been very fascinated by the idea of having a plan B. If LinkedIn goes down, which it has periodically, I want to know that my show still lives somewhere because I've gone to all this trouble. So we are playing around today with Substack, and I'm just about to check if that's worked. It's quite difficult to do these shows by yourself, but it's a lot of fun. And I constantly challenge myself to do this because I want to be able, I don't want to rely on anyone else. I don't want to have to rely on anyone else to do these shows. I've been doing this like for 20 years, and I've had whole series of shows where I relied on people to come, and quite frankly, they didn't. And I'm stuck there, stuck there live on stage without the co-host. And that's not very comfortable to me. I've subsequently learnt that, what, I may be better off doing this myself. So I'm having a go at doing it myself. So I'm pushing all the buttons and I'm doing all of the stuff, and some things will be missed, and I do apologize for that. But we are off and running. It appears. I'll just check while we're chatting. Omar, if you want to come and chat, that's very cool. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what this could be, Omar. Have you met Omar Sherry? He's a very, very cool dude that has a Zoom show called Zoom Party instead of Jeopardy, Zoom Party. Tell us
Hey
how that's
guys,
going. Hey, Omar, how you doing?
good to see you guys. Yeah, that's just going good. I'm actually taping now. Tape on Wednesdays and Mondays, and we just taped 2 episodes so far. Sorry, Wednesdays and Sundays, not Monday. So yeah, it's going well. We taped the second show already, and we're taping the third show, for season 6. So it's going great.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't believe I've met Omar yet. Where is Omar based?
I'm in Arizona, Phoenix, USA.
Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep.
Right. So what is that, mountain
Now,
time?
now 8. now Pacific. So in before winter,
Oh, that's
it's
right.
Pacific time, and then we're changing time in November. And we don't change time, but we'll be Mountain in November. So
Okay, because you stay the same, so you're sort of sitting there in the middle between two sort of opposing.
exactly,
So you are technically Mountain Time, except for daylight saving, in which case you're Pacific Time. So you're the same time as LA and Vancouver.
exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. I heard that you do a podcast also, Sherry. Is that
Yeah,
right?
tell us about that. Tell us how you're doing that. Sherry's got some marvelous projects going.
Yeah, well,
Me
I
as well.
am. Yeah, I'm a musician, right? I'm a concert pianist and cellist, and I just start performing, and I like bringing the um, things that I like to other people and inspire them. And I've got this podcast and some next golden age because I believe that we are stepping into one, even though it doesn't look like it at the moment. And I think it's time for another renaissance culturally.
Nice. That's awesome. I do two shows. I do the quiz show and also I do a podcast, but they're all on camera. So
Yeah, look, what you're doing there is the most common thing. I've got to be
yeah.
honest, and I really want you to ask this. I don't think I've seen this format ever done before. I don't
Which
know
format?
anyone else who's doing a audio only show for 4 hours.
Ah, that's amazing.
I don't know if there is one, and if there is, I want to know. I absolutely want to know because I want to help them. I want to give them their flowers, and I also want to get them on my show. What I can tell you, and I'm pretty excited about this. I'm pretty excited. Substack is working. So if you prefer to be on Substack, that's fine. I have to manually manage those comments, and I've got that as a separate screen, but it's working. So Substack is working if you prefer to listen to it and watch it that way. YouTube is working if you want to watch it that way. And we know that YouTube works, but no one listens there. And LinkedIn's working. So now we've got the trilogy. We've got LinkedIn, Substack, YouTube, all working simultaneously on the internet. So you can tune in wherever you want. So I'm pretty proud of that. It took me a bloody long time to work out how to do it, but I got it working. So why that's important, why that's very, very important. There's a couple of reasons why it's important. One is I've always wanted a backup to LinkedIn. Because even now, I still got these little messages. Are you a robot? You can't possibly be working this fast. You can't possibly be doing all this stuff manually. You must not be a person. So we're going to ban you for 4 days and just put you in the sin bin, to use a rugby term. And you have a think about that. And if you are a real person, then we'll give you your account back with a slap over the wrist. And please don't do this again. This has happened to me many, many, many times. I'm just a real person working hard. I can't see why they think I'm a robot. Anyway, so we've got Substack working, YouTube always works, and now we've got LinkedIn working. So, Bez, this is a bit of a win, and I apologize for this being a bit late, but I'm trying to pick up the Asian crowd today: Singapore, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Tokyo. So we are a global family after all. What do you think? We got Substack working.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations. And I knew you could do it.
Yeah. Now if you you'll be you know how I've taken October off.
Right.
Bunson's here, and Tomi's here, and Omar's here. So, Bunsen, if you want to, I can send you the link to the Substack show. I can send you the link to the show itself. I'd love to have you on the call if you can. And Tomi, if you want to come up, I'd love to hear. With the pro version of Restream, I can have up to 10 people on the call at one time, which I have done, and it's very cool. It's extremely cool if I can do that. And I'd love to hear. Do you know Bunsen? Do you know Jason? Bez, he might be part of a different history. He is just
No,
rocking it.
I,
He is the multi-streaming dude. I think he's up to about 26 now. He's restreaming everywhere. He's worked it out. He's got about 8 gadgets all strapped to his head. I'll
I
let him.
know him. I
Oh,
know
Yeah,
him.
I remember him from old days.
Yeah.
All sorts of platforms.
Yeah, he's got 250,000 followers on Instagram. So
Uh,
if you've got time,
I know
Jason,
Jason.
yeah, if you've got time, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've got time, Tommy, I'd love you to come up on stage. There's a link there in your DMs on LinkedIn. So if you want to listen on StreamYard, not StreamYard, Substack, I'm Keith Keller AU on Substack. You may be already following me, and that's working. So you can make comments there, but I have to actually watch them manually. It's quickly becoming outside of the realm of one person. And I do apologize if I'm sort of taking a step back to try and manage all this, but it's a lot of fun. It really pushes me. But let's have a chat about Sherry, because Sherry has been using Substack for a very long time. Tell us how that works for you, Sherry. What do you do there, and have you got many followers, and have you got a good community?
Oh, I haven't been really building that much. I mean, at first I was inspired by this book called actually also I watched this TV mini series first as All the Light We Cannot See, but from a book that's actually a Pulitzer winning book. And I just really, really like the idea of running like a radio show. At first, actually, I was on Zeno.fm, and that was like live, but it didn't suit a lot of people because you know how busy people are these days, and the time zone problem is always quite difficult. So later on, I found Substack, and it sounded like a place where I can find more like-minded people because I also write poetry, and
Yeah. Do you know Mike? Mike loves poetry. He's got a poetry channel. Mike LeBlanc. No, we'll get to that in a minute. Jason, mate, 2-3 years have gone past, and the world spins around, and here we are.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. No, I just can't wait to hear what you're doing. When I talked to you last, which might be as much as 2 years ago, you had all of them working. Have you started playing with Substack?
We have a Substack newsletter. So that's all we use Substack for. I've linked my podcast to it. I didn't know they have like live audio like this, or maybe you have to use like Restream
You
or
do, yeah.
StreamYard, like one of those. Oh,
It's
okay.
very hard. I look at it is it's almost beyond my comprehension. But um, what we're doing, we're very excited. We've got it working, and what you need to do is you have to use Restream, and then you get a stream key, and you use what's called RTMP. You'd know about that. And I got it working. So today I'm sending this file to YouTube, to LinkedIn, and to Substack. Now, just to let you know why I'm so excited about this, when you send the file to Substack, when you finish your show and push stop, Substack automatically creates a blog post for you with the video embedded. And then you just push go and it sends to your team. And then after about half an hour, it automatically chops up about 5 or 6 pieces of that video for you and sends them back to you via email. It's a genius. Look, it's a genius idea. So we might talk for an hour, say 2 hours. Yesterday we talked for 3 hours. But I didn't get Substack to work. If I had posted that to Substack, it would have created some little mini snippets for me and sent them back via email to say, hey, here's a couple of bits and pieces you talked about yesterday. Why don't you create a blog post about that? Or why don't you embed that underneath the main video? Right? It's genius. Where people are paying $50 a month for tech like this, and it does it itself. This is the main reason I'm very inspired to try it. I really want to get this working, because if I can do a show and have it work and then create little snippets, that becomes either a new blog post or a much longer blog post with lots of embeds. But Jason, while I got you, tell me what you're doing. How can we help you, mate? I'm so excited to be chatting to you again.
Well, I haven't used LinkedIn, right? So we chatted, I think, the last time on Twitter/X, and then like a lot of people have left that platform. So in it's probably been about a year and a half, 2 years that since we've talked. So I hope you're doing well. First off, um, yeah, we've our our accounts have expanded into Instagram and Facebook. So that's where our push has been, and we've had a lot of success there. So just on a whim, yesterday I think I reinstalled LinkedIn because I kept getting notifications, and then the your thing popped up on my feed, and I was like, oh hey, it's Keith Keller. So that's why I'm here. I just thought I'd say hello.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you have always been on the cutting edge of multi-streaming. When we were doing Twitter Spaces, I was doing Twitter Spaces. When I was doing LinkedIn audio events, I was doing LinkedIn audio events, and never the twain shall meet. And then I got a tap on the shoulder in January 2024 saying, okay, guess what, Keith? You must be a robot. No person is humanly possible. It's not humanly possible to work as fast as you're working. You must be using AI. We're closing you down for 4 days, putting you in the sin bin, have a think about it. And if you're very, very nice, we'll give you your account back. This is exactly what happened. January 2024. And I said, what are you talking about? I'm a real person. I'm just very excited. Well, we don't believe you. You must be using automation unless you promise, upon death that you do this again, we will cancel your account forever. I said, well, gee, what is that about? Come on, I'm just a guy in Melbourne, Australia, playing the game. Okay. So ever since January 2024, I've been determined to have a backup just in case that happens again. Because I was in the middle of a show. We had 300 people in the audience, and I had promoted that show for 6 weeks. And I thought, this will never happen to me again. I will never put myself in that position again. Any site that dictates that I can go live or not, I'm never going to do that again. So we tried Go Brunch for a while, which was pretty cool. And here we are using Substack. So I'm very, very excited about this. I'm extremely excited about this. And it's got so much potential. 50 million users, 70 million visitors per month. It's just astonishing. It's just astonishing. And with Restream, you can have 10 people on stage at one time. You don't do it that way, though, do you? The reason you multi-stream, just to let you know what Jason does, he has these really, really cool guests, and they don't have time to be doing shows on different sites. So he does one show, and as a courtesy to them, he sends it out to everything at one time. That's your inspiration, isn't it? You only have one guest. You don't. Do you have people come up on stage from the audience and ask questions, or do you do that via comments?
Probably in the last year we phased out our science chats just because I've been too busy to track down guests. But we still do a live show every Saturday. My wife and I actually run the show, and it's more about like what it's kind of silly and definitely not for everybody, but it's just about what happened that week with our dogs because lots of people follow our dogs, right? That show is yeah, I use StreamYard, so that goes to our Facebook, that goes to our YouTube, that goes to Twitter video. And then I have a Roadcaster, and on my Roadcaster I have a secondary phone, and that allows me to do X audio spaces. And then I can also add an Instagram stream key, sort of like what you did for Substack.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, so then our show is also on Instagram. I could add LinkedIn, but we just don't have a presence here, and then it costs a little extra to add LinkedIn to StreamYard. I did look at Restream. Is Restream very similar? Like you can pick many different places to to
Yeah.
send your.
So
Okay.
this is Restream.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll put that graphic in the middle, and rose in amongst two thorns there. So I use a Restream, and there's a couple of reasons why. One is with the pro version, $19 Australian a month, about $19 US, which is double for us. You get up to 3 places at once included, but most importantly, the guests can send it to 3 places as well. So this is very important to you. I don't know how many you get on StreamYard for the pro version, but you can actually send it to 3 places, and the guests can send it to 3 places, and you can have 10 guests. So you can actually technically send the file to 30 places. And because I always have guests and people coming up, this is an important principle for me. Might not be so much for you if you don't have people coming up on stage, but technically everyone on this stage could send it to their people if they wanted to, if we set it up that way. So I love Restream. I've tried both. I've just sort of warmed to Restream, and I love it. They're very good, and their customer service is good, and I just like it. But it's very similar. It's almost identical. I think Bez has StreamYard, don't you, Bez? Do you want to chat to Jason about how you use StreamYard? You've got the pro version.
Yeah, I do have a StreamYard, but I think one of the ways I'm going to use it is instead of, because I'm going to do a show and I'm going to distribute it in multiple formats, one of them being video. But instead of getting like Riverside FM, if you have a high enough account with StreamYard, it's like replicates some of the parts of Riverside FM. So I'm excited about using it that way. And then just I'm going to start doing probably impromptu things where I'll just go for a few minutes live on YouTube and or even LinkedIn and a few other places, and just when something inspires me, go on and just share something that I ran into that maybe some insights I've learned, or maybe an observation I've made. And mine is around careers. And interesting enough, some of the people in my cohort, they're asking about, hey, how do we plan our exit strategy for the next one? And that is music to my ears, because actually, Jason, you're sort of going through that. Can you give us some insights on that? Yeah. What's up with your story? He did the cat get his tongue? Ha ha ha! A dad joke. Anyways, yeah, I'm getting a lot of people in the cohorts asking about what's next, and it's surprising because I a lot of people say, well, this will be my last job. I want to stay here for a long time, and I can see myself retiring. And I'm like, that's dangerous thinking. We don't live in that day and age anymore. We live in a day and age where loyalty is portable. So, anyways, I've been sort of in, when you're doing career coaching, it's really weird when you're like then sort of trying to guide them down the entrepreneur path, because I don't want to confuse people, because I'm there to help them get a job. But it's fascinating how this is music to my ears, because I think all people who are in their careers should have an exit strategy. And one of those options should be considering, going out there and sharing your thought leadership, and getting some people onboarded to your services and having them pay you. I think there's nothing more risky than to have a job, which means you have one source of income. It's a lot different when you have multiple streams of income, because you have multiple customers. That makes me sleep a little bit better at night. But if I just have one client, that's like having a job. Anyways, I'll quit talking, Keith. Back
Well,
to
this
you.
is a
And
good discussion. Do you want to pick up on this, Mike? You like us we've all been retrenched before, and some of us are sick of it and want to just get back into it. Saying, you know, it's enough. I'm going to work for myself. What does it feel like to be kicked in the guts and be retrenched? It's like it's pretty hard to get back up again, isn't it?
Try 2 times in 8 years.
Yeah, I was 3 times in 3 years.
So, and I'm supposed to be in a real hot, you know, role, which is cyber. But anyway, I don't know if Bez. Well, Bez has probably seen me hint at this, but I'm definitely gonna take a go at this new venture that I'm calling Bespoke Musica. But beyond that, Keith, I don't know if you know this. I'm looking at a tool now that can create TikTok shorts, basically. And so I'm going to be reusing those shorts um, both on TikTok and on um, YouTube. So I want to build basically, it's really just to drive sales to Bandcamp for tracks and albums, and then streaming. So I'll
Yeah.
be sending them probably actually to Substack, and then from Substack I'll say you can find me here, here, and here.
Well, you may want to. This is a different cohort, but I think Jason is probably my hero in regards to people I personally know. Like Jason has done it. He's got 250,000 followers on Instagram, and he's making money with his cohort, which is cool dogs, right? But the point is that I would love to hear how this evolution started. Do you want to quickly share this for people that don't know? You're a school teacher, a rockin' science teacher, and that's probably enough. But you've got this secondary side hustle, haven't you?
Yeah, the secondary side hustle is quickly becoming my first hustle. um, yeah, we started just with a small Twitter account, and I've been working at it for like 6, 7 years, so it hasn't happened overnight. But when we made the switch to focus on Instagram and Facebook with short form videos, um, that really exploded last year in 2024. So yeah, our Instagram account went from, I don't know, 20,000 to should hit 250,000 in a couple days here. We're just under 250,000 there. And then same thing with Facebook. We have a 250,000 followers on Facebook too. And what's good for us on Facebook, being Canadian, is that they pay us, right? TikTok only pays Americans with the TikTok Creator Fund. So I put a bunch of time into that, and then realized like there was no benefit monetarily to do that. So yeah, but I guess the story is that I haven't given up when one platform stops working, as I kind of reinvent what works on other platforms and move there. And then we've had a lot of success on Meta, so Instagram and Facebook.
It's very, very, very inspiring because the rooms, you and I have known each other since Twitter was called Twitter, and we were doing our thing when it became something else. And many of your clients, your followers, stopped using it, didn't they? They just stopped using it because of the toxicity that came at that time.
Yes.
And so you were forced to make some choices, and you've made them, and now you've moved to Instagram and Facebook. And that transition sounds like it was pretty smooth.
No. I was very stubborn to start with. I had built a huge Twitter account, which I was, super proud of, with a good community there. And things changed, and I dug in thinking it would get better, and it didn't. And that's something that I tell people who are just starting out, is that you can't let your ego get in the way of trying something new. So I lost a lot of time and energy on a platform that was dying for
Yeah,
us at
yeah,
least.
yeah,
So, but once we made the decision to focus on other platforms, I had to learn how to use them. But if you're stubborn and you work hard, you can get there.
yeah. And I think at this last time we chatted, we figured that there's now 1.2 billion people on LinkedIn. 50% of adults in the world, the Western world, have a dog. So my gut feeling is that 600 million people on LinkedIn have a dog, and they would probably love your dog photos. But you've tried that, yeah? You've. I think you were trying out to see whether people in corporate America can be bothered watching dog videos, and whether you're just better off focusing on Instagram and TikTok because that's where people know it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people, and you can correct me if you're wrong, because I don't use LinkedIn. I haven't used LinkedIn in years. Like this is the first time I've used LinkedIn in forever. But people aren't logging into LinkedIn to be entertained and to mindlessly scroll. And that's the what with Instagram there's reels, and with TikTok there's the little short form videos, and you just go beep beep beep, like you scroll until you hit something that intrigues you. So I think people on LinkedIn, I think, have a longer attention span. And that's not what I've been practicing at capturing
Yeah.
lately.
And it's very intentional. Like I go to LinkedIn in a very intentional way. I don't scroll it. It's very boring if you scroll it because it's not designed, doesn't have any entertainment there. It's very good for DMs. It's extremely good for DMs. Because that's part of my strategy. And it has 1.2 billion users, and I've got 22,000 of them. So I guess my focus has been like yours is Instagram. My focus has been LinkedIn because when Twitter became X, I thought, well, where am I going to go now? Where's with the most likely point of reference for me? And for me, that was LinkedIn. But we can run the room on this because Jason doesn't necessarily use it, so it would be useful for other people to share their story. Does anyone want to tell Jason how they use LinkedIn and why it could possibly benefit him? Possibly.
Well, can I?
You jump in. Yeah.
I actually like the fact that he's tested a few things and he's made some very key observations. You have to observe the behavior of LinkedIn, and it starts with your own behavior. How do you behave with LinkedIn? And how you behave with LinkedIn as a working professional probably is like how many other people behave. They're not checking their messages. They're not logging in, and they're not checking their friends' photos, and not only mindfully, but sometimes even intentionally trying to catch up with friends and family, right? Because the people on LinkedIn, they're also on Facebook and Instagram, right? But they behave differently there. And you may get people on LinkedIn maybe checking it once a week if they're gainfully employed, right? So, it's not, I think what you observed, Jason, you're spot on, right? And I don't think he needs to check out LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn has a purpose, but he's found something that's working and he's doubling down on it. With 250, did you say 250,000 or 250 million?
Oh no, I would definitely be quitting teaching if I had 250 million. No, quarter million.
Okay.
250,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I just get so that's pretty amazing. And you're gonna you um I
It's
that
it's wild. It's wild, Bez. We're getting recognized in public now. Totally wild.
I remember you guys were on Twitter, and when it was called Twitter, and I remember that's where I met you. I believe that
Yeah.
is, yeah. I know it wasn't Clubhouse; it had to be Twitter. And but think about this. I mean, you dropped a little hint the other day that this side hustle may become your main gig. Are you ready to share a little bit about that, or not yet?
It's close. Because you're if you're looking to transition out of a job, where you're transitioning to has to be as financially beneficial to your family as the job you're leaving, right? You can't leave a stable job for nothing. That's a pretty
Right.
big gamble, right? And we're there now, right? So I'm at the point where the side hustle could easily replace my day job. The only fear is that social media is extremely volatile, right? Um, that's the only problem.
So let me ask you this: if social media is volatile, since you've seen it, Twitter and everybody else,
Yeah.
how do you use social media to drive maybe something you're selling that isn't at the whim of social media, right? Is there
Yeah.
some
So
strategy?
that's the plan, right? Um, we are a couple weeks away from launching a dog training course with that we've partnered with a lady, right? So that's super exciting. That's on our platform that we use called Circle. And we have merch, and we write books, and we have calendars. So there's that stuff that doesn't necessarily need social media. Um, yeah, and then of course we have our Substack, which you can get people's emails, which is direct marketing. But all of it, to decide to do that is very, very scary because uh, we still have a large account on Twitter, but I think we make enough for a nice meal a month from whatever's happening there on X. So it's not something I could quit my day job for.
What about merch?
Yeah, like we sell t-shirts,
Okay.
mugs. Like we've got a pretty robust store. We have stuffed animal replicas of the dogs, and
Ooh.
our fourth book that we just wrote is arriving tomorrow that we'll be shipping out, which is exciting. So yeah, like we've tried hard
Wow.
to do all this stuff that isn't necessarily at the whims of likes and shares and views on social media. Sorry if I'm hogging the conversation.
No,
No, no,
this is very important, isn't it?
this is nice. I'm learning.
Because even with all of that, and this is such an important point, even with such a following and such a monetization model, you're still in the back of your head thinking it's a little bit uncertain, isn't it? Even though it's working now, how long will it work for? Because teaching is teaching. There's always going to be kids learning to use the Bunsen burner. That you're always going to be doing those cool experiments. That job will never go away.
Yes. Yeah. So that's why doing things like courses, or perhaps the next big phase next year is for me to be a social media coach for people potentially, because I know what I'm talking about. Like I could help people that way, and I'm a teacher, right? So I would be teaching just in a different venue. So yeah, there's
Science, you'd be teaching social.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like people want to start out and they don't know how to do it, and I figured it out, at least for Instagram and Facebook for our level. So
Do you know Chocolate Johnny? Do you know that name? You
no,
ever heard me mention Chocolate Johnny?
no.
Let me check. This is a very cool story, and it's very relevant to what we're talking about right now. I'm going to play a little sound and see if it will pick it up on Substack. You're listening to KKFM, and we're talking about a side hustle becoming the main hustle. Now, a very good friend of mine, Chocolate Johnny, who lives in Sydney, Australia, has a chocolate shop, which his dad started in 1938. And he's making chocolate in the back of the shop in a small village suburb of Sydney. And Chocolate Johnny, this is an amazing story. Chocolate Johnny says, "What if I used Snapchat to create these characters? White chocolate being the Lone Ranger good character, and dark chocolate meaning the evil one, right?" And he had kids turning up, going, "Can I have some of the evil dark chocolate, please?" "No, no, I want you to buy the white chocolate." "No, I want to be the I want to be the Darth Vader." So he created all these characters out of chocolate. And then he created stories about them online on Snapchat and Periscope when it was Periscope. And friends of mine would said, "Mate, I'm going to Sydney." And you know what? You know what I said to the taxi driver? I got straight into the cab and I said, "Don't take me to my hotel. Take me to Chocolate Johnny." Right? Famous people, really famous people, were turning up at the airport and driving straight to this shop. Right? He spoke at Social Media Marketing World. Michael Stelzner rang him and said, "Mate, we're hearing about you. Can you come over and talk at our next conference?" He spoke at Social Media Marketing World. And he's made a living and a name for himself as the chocolate dude. We call him the Gary V of chocolate. He's got all the charisma of Gary V. He happens to live in Australia. And he's got a chocolate shop. Now you're the Gary V of doggies. You know, Gary V's a bit of a character and you're a bit of a character, but you've got this side hustle. Right? Now, Chocolate Johnny makes a good living out of his speaking gigs, and he also has a chocolate shop. So you're on the cusp of doing this. You've got a merch store, and you've got stuffies and T-shirts and books, and you could teach this as Chocolate Johnny does. So, what do you think, Jason? You're almost there. Isn't that exciting? Oh, I think we've lost him. I'll bring him back. There we go. We lost the signal.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the audio cut out. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I heard everything you said. Yeah, it is exciting. It's getting close. I've actually this year I've cut back. I'm not a full-time teacher. Like I'm not teaching full-time because I chose that to have more time to focus on all the extra stuff. So the phase out has begun.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. It's very exciting because, you know, this all sounds very, very exciting until the day you realize, well, hang on, now we're talking about money.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're talking about the idea that I can feed my family here, and I'm doing it. And now I'm going to switch to this, and I'm not sure how long that's going to last. I'm really excited that we've caught you at this phase, because we always knew you were going to get here, but now you're right in the middle of the sort of the maths of it. You're really trying to work out, well, look, can I go? Can I do this full time? Am I ready? Bloody brilliant. What do you think, Bez? This is an exciting story. I don't know if you've been following this.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna definitely have to invite. I like this theme, Jason, because um, people. I'm seeing this in the Generation X and Boomer, as well as even late millennials, where they're 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 thinking, okay, I've been laid off a couple times. It doesn't feel good. I don't have control. Um, what can and they're starting to get out of that mindset. I think it's not a healthy mindset to put so much into an employer. Not saying that look, I know when we show up to work, us that take pride in our work, we don't show up halfway. We put blood, sweat, and tears into whatever we do. And then therefore, when you get retrenched or laid off, rift, or whatever you want to call it, it hurts. It's a kick in the gut. And people wonder, man, and I'm like, you're really going through the 7 stages of grief, and you have to recognize that, right? So they're saying, hey, that doesn't feel good. I want control of what I do next. I go, well, you're at that point in your life where you can design what you want. The world is your oyster. What do you want? And once that's sort of exciting, but it's sort of dangerous, right? but why don't you go work at the 9 to 5 and do what Jason is doing? Where you little by little your side hustle. Like, you guys remember that guy a few years back, Chris? He has a podcast or called Side Hustle Stories, but he used to put on a conference up in the Northwest. He recently sunsetted that, but it was an amazing one where people would come with ideas and hang out. But he wrote a book. Chris, oh my goodness, I got his book here. Let me see where it is. He has a few books on side hustles, but anyways, what Jason's done is what I wish more people would do is like figure that exit strategy. And I mean, there's a guy, Michael Gerber, who wrote the E-Myth Revisited like 30, 40 years ago. And his thing was, if you start a business, think of the exit strategy. And look, the struggles that career people have is also, there's some struggles too as an entrepreneur. Hey, I don't want to sell this. I want to keep it in the family, and maybe your kids don't want it, right? And maybe someone whispers a number in your ear that is pretty sweet, but they're not going to buy what's in your head. It's got to there. You got to have your systems, your processes. And so, yeah, I just think that the world's a pretty exciting place to be right now. And Jason's a testament to that. And his story is pretty cool. I'm going to be reaching out to you because I do want to interview you.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Now, Michael, I think you've actually taken this up a notch, and you've got this file being sent to other places. Can you just tell us a bit about how you did that and why that's important?
Well, because I want to, I'm actually probably going to do two shows. One's going to be dedicated to bespoke musica, and the other one is going to be more featuring my new tracks that I have about 300 of. And so right now I'm restreaming from Keith's show here to LinkedIn and Substack simultaneously.
Yeah, I can see that, and that's made possible because I've got the pro version, and you've picked that up and sent it on, have you?
Yep.
Now that is great. Now I just love this. So Jason, I know you're busy. I know it's late there. I really do appreciate you. You're welcome on the show anytime, and this will become. It's already on LinkedIn and it's already on YouTube, but this will become a Substack blog post. And with a bit of luck, Substack will be clever enough to actually pick up some of these cool things. I'm very, very, very interested in seeing how that's done. I'm going to throw back to Sherry. Tell us how you're using Substack. Are you writing posts? Sherry and Michael both love poetry. I don't know if you've ever met in person or in concept, but do you know that you both love poetry? Have you chatted to each other about doing a show together, perhaps?
I've
We
only
have not.
just added Mike just now. But I haven't been writing posts. I just used it for my podcasts. But I can see there are so many possibilities. It just seems to be there are so many functions. So there's a lot to
Well,
learn. I can see a lot of people using it different ways.
and then Sherry, what I've done is I've gone a step further and taken my poetry and turned them into songs using Suno. And then I went beyond that and just went right to lyric writing. So, and then since then, I've done what I call bespoke tracks for birthday songs. I've written intros and outros for folks' shows, and I'm going to monetize that.
Let's have a chat about that. I'm really interested in how you're going to do that and how much you'll charge. What do you think is the real? I just want to say hello to Steve Dart on Substack. I can't fold these comments into the feed, but I'm going to have to say this manually. I've sent you the link, Steve, if you want to join us. I'd love to hear what you think about Substack, if you're using it, and if you want to make any comments about the whole social audio feature. I'm happy to have you. But I'd love to hear, Mike, what you think could work on for social or for sort of social music, if you like. How much do you think a song that you create is worth to someone? Now, that's maybe a different question to what they think it's worth, but you're not going to do it for $10, or would you? I mean, what do you think is a fair price?
Well, we talked about this offline a little bit, and it's going to depend on what you mean. And what I mean by that is for the bespoke musica stuff, I'm probably going to start. It really depends on what they're able to pay. But for instance, if it's a relatively well off individual or couple, and they're looking for instance, a wedding, custom wedding song. And it's also going to depend on how much work I have to do. But generally, I'm going to be in probably like the $200 to $500 range.
For one song.
But for one song.
Do you think?
But I think they will.
Okay.
But only for that type, and it's going to be a one-off. That's why it's going to be so much money, because otherwise, I'm going to start out at least in the neighborhood, because this is the minimum on Bandcamp. I think it's $1 something a track, and I believe it's $9 an album. Now you can basically, I think the kind of going rate is about $10 an album, and the other thing is you can turn on kind of pay extra, almost like a tip, and that can go up to 40%. So we'll see. And then the other thing that's a little, and this is why I'm going on TikTok, Keith. Otherwise, I probably would never go on TikTok. And so that's to drive eyeballs and folks to the streaming platforms and Bandcamp. Bandcamp to buy the track, and then the streaming platforms to stream it.
Okay. Yep, that's okay. I'm very interested in what other people think they would pay to have a song written for them. I mean, in the sense that most people can't do it. I'd be very interested to know. I've got a very good friend of mine in Melbourne that I'll send you to, and who wants to write a song, can't do it, doesn't know how to do it, would pay people to do it. I'd be very interested, and he's quite well off. So he may pay you $500 for that. I don't know, but he can't do it. So the point is that it's not like he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't have that skill. So that's what it is. When I was playing in bands, most of the singers that I worked with couldn't play an instrument. This is quite common. A lot of musos can play an instrument. The singers can play guitar or keyboards, but often the singer can't play an instrument. So it's not like they can say, oh, I think this song's in G, and can you just do the middle 8 in A minor, and can we just sort of get this funky and Dorian scale going in the solo? They don't know how to talk like that. They just go, look, I know what I know, and I know if I like it, but I don't know how to do it. So they can sing and maybe write lyrics, but they don't know how to play an instrument. That's what this site is really designed for. But anyway, this is very, very, very cool. Charlie Lewis Jr., jump in and tell us what you're thinking. You're writing a series of comments here. I'm not sure they're related to what we're talking about. I don't actually know if what you're saying relates to what we're saying. But please let me know if you want to speak about this. Steve Dart is in the room, and I'm very happy to have him. But Bez and Sherry, what do you think of this idea of charging for writing songs, and how much would you pay, or how much do you think the market will pay to have songs written for them?
Well, it really all very depends on the use for the song and who, yeah, like the affordability, right? Yeah, like what Mike said, it's really up to, well, if they are wealthy or well-off people, they can probably pay more, and if it's one-off or it's a more frequent um deal. And I was just saying, yeah, Mike, I was thinking because I've already done a lot of concerts and they've been recorded, and I've got a sound engineer friend who's been helping me with yeah, with the audio, and yeah, maybe I can publish them on Bandcamp and maybe charge a little bit for those as well, instead of like printing CDs, which is not actually very practical these days. Not too many people have CD players anymore.
Yeah, I would say go digital as digital as you can go. Online, because I mean people have their phones, but they're I don't even know if I have a CD player anymore. I actually I think I have one in my computer, but I don't have one just to play CDs. Maybe in my car. I don't use them though. Like right now, because I have all these songs I've created on Suno, I Bluetooth to my car and play I play my songs in the car. In fact, I wrote one for my 11th, my wife and I's 11th anniversary, and I surprised her by playing it on the way to our anniversary breakfast.
Wow.
I love it. Um, when Mike mentioned that he was going to do bespoke musical songs. Now this is I'm going to save this because not many people will listen to this version. You know how someone says, "Tell me something about you that no one knows." Right? No one knows this. No one. 3 people in the world know about this. I wrote my sister's wedding song. I just remembered that today. It was 1995. Right. So back in the day, I had a DX7 or a V50, which is like a Yamaha gadget with a sequencer. And I just met Carol, and she came over, and we were going to go out for tea. And I'm thinking, well, I'm practicing. I got this big classical music exam coming up, and she says, "Do you want me to be here or not?" I mean, bloody musos, you know, am I here or am I not? I'm going to go. Right. We had this big fight, this huge fight. She left the house. And then I thought, oh no, that I stuffed up there. We were going out for tea and we were going to go to this concert, but I had to do this practice for my classical exam. I did 3rd grade classical piano, and I had to do this practice. And so anyway, I wrote this song, "Say You'll Stay With Me Forever." This heartfelt sort of bad English / power ballad from the 80s. And I recorded it. Cost me hundreds of dollars. And I sent it to her. I said, "Look, please come back. Please come back." And I played it to her. I said, "Look, I stuffed up there. Say You'll Stay With Me Forever." I don't know if I've got it. I've got it on a cassette somewhere in the shed. And this was like early on. And then my sister said, "Well, we're getting married. Could you re-record that song and can we play it for the wedding song, like for the wedding dance?" I said, "Oh, okay." Cost me hundreds of dollars. Paid a guitarist, had to go to a studio. And as a result, this was the catalyst that made me give up music because she was so fussy. No, I don't want that sound. I want a different sound. I said, "It's my song. It's my song, which I'm doing for you." And anyway, we had this big fight. And I ended up giving her that song as the wedding song, but I never wrote music after that. That was the catalyst. That was the moment when I realized, I don't want to do this anymore. It was a moment in time. And then that song wasn't very good, but I wrote it. So I was a bit biased. And it sounded like all of those other power ballads that came out in the 80s, with Aerosmith and Bad English and Motley Crue, and they all had one. Poison, a little bit like Every Rose Has a Thorn, so that sort of stuff. So there's definitely a market for bespoke music because that was the only time that anyone had ever heard that song. And I've got to be honest, several people who were at the wedding came up to me and says, "Mate, can I get that? That's pretty good." No, it's not that good. Well, like here's a blank cassette, or here's $5. Can you send me this? I said, look, it's not that good. No, I want it. I want it. Anyway, so there's a market for this, mate. I think there's probably a market for this. So it's all part of the fun. But I would be interested to know whether you could make it as a living, or whether it'd just basically pay your gas bill.
Yeah,
Because
we'll find out. I mean, that's why I'm trying to go with these two streams to start out with, and so to be honest, I think maybe there's a little more for the bespoke tracks than the other, but again, and we've already talked about this. There's an explosion of tracks, and so what's different about mine? Well, I write my own lyrics, and it's either gonna vibe with people or not. If it vibes with people, then it'll sell. If it doesn't, it won't, and that's fine because I've already released tracks. I don't think I told you this, Keith, but I did a track for my sister-in-law's memorial, and I did a song for my best childhood friend's um, family. I mean, I basically wrote a song in a memorial for him, and I sent that along to the family. But that's so I can do it just for myself and family. I don't have to do it for pay. But it's found. I mean, again on LinkedIn, I've done a number of birthday tracks, and uh, Bez knows Felipe. Felipe kind of started that trend. I did a song for him on Nani's Veroni, I think is her last name, on her show, and then it kind of just took off from there. So
I remember that. And can you guys educate me? You and Sherry have said something about Bandcamp. Now, don't get excited that Bez is going to put music out there because I'm not. I'm like what Keith describes, the singer that can't play an instrument, but I don't sing. You don't want me to sing.
that's good. I like that. I'm the singer who doesn't play an instrument, but I can't sing. I love that. That's a great definition. I love that. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to use that again.
well,
Uh,
Bez, if you have an audio track though, like let's say you wanted to do something about your how many pillars do you have in your job? If you want to do
eight,
an audio
8. Hmm.
8 pillars. If you want to
Yeah.
do like a series of lectures on, as an audio, you could sell them on there.
Yeah.
And in fact, if
Yeah.
you want to wrap
Oh.
those up into an album, you can wrap it up into an album.
Oh. So I'll check out Bandcamp. So yeah, no, it's fascinating. So let me ask you because I know I don't, Mike. Maybe you can fill me in, but I know Keith took 10 years of music theory, and I've been trying to encourage him to, like do what you're doing, right? Is because look, if you take 10 years of music theory, come on, I took 2 years of it, and it was the worst class that I ever took. It's very mathematical, to be honest. It's it's just I don't have the mind for it, right? Um, and that's a skill that I know you could produce music or you could teach people how to do it better than so many of us. And what I want to know, Mike, what are you a musically inclined person? What's your journey like?
Well, I've been a vocalist for most of my life. So I kind of like what Keith was saying. I can read music, but I can't play.
Mm,
Um, and so, but I led worship in a church for like 6 years. Um, and then before that, I sang in a bunch of choirs, including we sang Handel's Messiah, like a 400 voice choir with a full orchestra.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So it's been too many years. That's why if you asked me to sing, I wouldn't do it right now. But so I have that background, right? And I think the other thing is because I've written poetry for so long, um, that I mean, it is a bit of a change to go from poetry to lyrics. And so although I took one of my first songs actually in Suno, and it's really kind of what got me so excited about Suno, was directly. I took my poem right out of my notebook or whatever, put it into Suno, and Suno did the rest. Now it's not necessarily what I consider my best track, but it's okay. And then I did another one. It's based on the another poem, and I played it really slow. And so what I'm learning, to I'm kind of going backwards of what Keith would do, and that's I'm revisiting any of my music theory, and then just reading up on how a song progresses basically, and to Keith's point, what key do you want it in, and then all of there is a fair amount of what would they call them, like style, do it faster, do it slower, and you can change the keys in the middle. Well, I'm still trying to figure that out because half the time the AI doesn't listen to what you're asking it to do. But yeah, it's it's fun. But I mean, could Keith do it? Absolutely, if he wants to.
Yeah, why don't we have this discussion? And Sherry, I'd love your thoughts on this because I'm probably going to side with you on this. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the ethics of writing a song using a computer program where the lead singer from my favorite band from 1987 sounds exactly spot on, because that's not fair to him. I've created songs and I'm thinking, geez, my favorite band could have sang this, but I know I didn't write it because I've written songs. I know my level, and I thought I'm not sure where I sit on the ethics of this yet. So that's why I'm not offering this as a commercial enterprise. I'm happy to help people. I know how to do it. I've pulled it apart. I know exactly what to do, but I'm not going to charge people for that because I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. So why don't we start with you, Sherry? What do you think of this Suno idea that someone can punch in a lyrics and get a Van Halen song or something that sounds like Mariah Carey? That doesn't feel right, does it?
Well, as much as we think so, but there's so much AI doing things for us. You can't really tell if an image on the internet is real or not anymore. So I don't know how we have any power to actually impose any ethical decisions over these kind of things. I suppose if you tell people this was generated by AI, and some people can accept that, but well, for me it would be a little bit uncomfortable coming from the traditional kind of you know musical world.
Yeah. Um, uh, uh, Actually, let's start here. Coincidentally, because I'm not an artist, I don't have any qualms, and so I'm playing this out myself now. I don't have any qualms typing in YouTube, smartphone, laptop, sunset, and having DALI spit out this lovely image of a laptop with YouTube playing, overlooking the dolphins swimming in the beach and a sunset. I don't have any trouble with that, right? So is it just the format? Because I'm not an artist, I don't feel like I'm stealing anyone's work because I can't do it. I have no idea how to do it.
Well, isn't that hypocritical
That's
ethically
that's
though?
why I'm saying it. I'm saying it exactly to put myself on the line there.
No, fair enough. And that's the reason I'm asking though is, first of all, we don't know how Dolly was trained. and that's part of the problem, right? Secondly, I mean, typically the lawyers are going to have to sort this out, and my understanding is there's at least one other platform. Now, whether it's going to produce the same level of songs, I don't know. And maybe Suno, after this, however this gets settled, may have to retrain the model. But it's, to me, Keith, it's like, okay, did you use MIDI? Did you use a Moog synthesizer back in the 70s or 60s? Do you use these tools that already have all these tracks and studio tools that allow you to do all of this computer aided wizardry?
Ah, of course I did.
So it gets a little, to me, the only if, and this is what the lawsuit's about, by the way, is that the claim from Suno is that they used what they call fair use. And the claim of the RIAA is that that they didn't. So they believe that there is some compensation needed. But after, let's say, either way that settles, number one, I'm a user. I didn't do this directly, so I'm stuck in the middle. So at any rate, my fallback position, if this other model has been quote unquote ethically trained, I'll just switch over to a new model and continue on my hoping that they come up to speed as far as the quality of the songs it's producing, which I would think they would, because at some point this is about an algorithm. And
Does anyone remember what happened with Napster? Was there compensation involved? Who paid who?
well, Napster kind of went away. I don't remember exactly what happened, but that was pirated software. This is not the same thing. That was direct pirated tracks.
Yeah, okay.
So
It's supposition to say it's not the same. In my opinion, it's the same. You're
No,
you're stealing the guitar sound from Bon Jovi.
no,
and
no,
you're
no,
putting
no,
it into
no,
the
no,
song.
no. It's completely different. I'm sorry. It's completely different, because what's coming out of the AI is produced by the AI completely. You're not ripping any track and putting that track into Suno. It's not how it works.
No, no,
The
I get you. I
AI,
get you.
and it is. I mean, from a sort of outside perspective, you're like, I don't know, I don't understand what you're saying, but there is a very big difference of applying a software algorithm to millions of song bits, and then coming out with completely new bits. And we already talked about this, Keith. There aren't that many new progressions available in the universe. And there's in all pop songs there's four chords that are, or many of them, and they're the same chords. So I mean, I understand both sides, and I'm in a bit of a quandary, but at the same time, I'm like, the lawyers are gonna have to figure it out. And
I
meanwhile,
think that's what I'm saying. Like I'm
yeah,
not prepared to go full on into it, just in case someone knocks on my door and says, "Hang on, mate. I know this sounded like a good idea to you, but you owe us 100,000."
I don't know how they can go after me. I didn't. I used a program. I'm a third party. They can go after Suno. How are they going to go after me?
No,
How are
that's
they
a
going
good
to?
point. No, I think you are right. They probably won't go after individual consumers. What we mentioned this yesterday, Deezer, Deezer, which is a European equivalent of Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
actually gets 30,000 submissions every
Mm-hmm.
day. How are they going to chase them all down? It's a little bit like someone knocking on your door and saying, "You know what? You're not supposed to tape the radio." Did anyone ever come to your house and say, "You're taping the top 40 on a Friday night? That's not technically allowed." Has there ever been a case where someone got stung for recording the TV on their VCR? I don't know of one. even though we know
No,
it technically.
actually, in the U.S., and I could be wrong, but my understanding was if I was listening to the radio and I made a tape of it, and I did not, I played that in the house or in my car. I didn't play that, or I didn't give it to anyone. I didn't distribute it. And that's absolutely true of if I bought, let's say a CD, if now we're digital, if I bought it on CD, I own the rights to play that track anywhere, including on my PC without the CD. So I could rip that off the CD and play it in the car. That I had bought the right to play that song anywhere.
What do you think, Bez? You're sort of sitting there in the middle in a sort of a non-musical position. Do you think the legal situation is still a little bit uncertain, or do you think that it's unlikely anyone's going to get stung for this?
I would be very careful, and I would make sure you go buy yourself some what they call general liability, and also errors and omission. And actually go talk to a professional business insurance agent. Make sure that you're structured, because if they come after you, you want to make sure you're not you're protected in some manner. Now, you won't be protected about breaking the law. If there is, if you know, I think this is going to be litigated for years. I mean, let's talk about litigation in the music industry. It's it hasn't stopped. People said, "Oh, you got my chord progression." Come on now. There's nothing new under the sun, but people still fight and protect their song, and so there's entertainment lawyers that's all they specialize in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. What the future may hold, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm just sort of sitting on the fence, but I think this idea of creating a song for someone's wedding and charging $200, I think that's probably comes under fair use. You know, it's a very unique idea. It's not going out for public consumption, is it? I know there was a very famous case where John Lennon was had up for 3 songs on his album that sounded exactly like someone else's, and he said, "Yeah, okay, I'm not going to fight you on that. They do sound a bit similar. I'll give you 10%, whatever I make on those songs. Just fair enough. I could just give you 10%." And those 3 songs were on an album. They didn't become a hit. They were just 3 songs on the album. So he got, I guess this person might have got 30% of the album sales of that album. Maybe that's what they're going for. My very good mate, Mark, has had several songs in the public eye. This is a very interesting story. My mate Mark has a publishing deal. He is represented by a professional. When he writes songs, he sends it to them, and he submits it to an artist, to a TV show, to a whatever. And he had this really cool song called 4 Million Ways to Die. Very, very unique idea. Very unique idea. Like, I mean, when have you ever heard a song called 4 Million Ways to Die, right? Then suddenly the public transport system in our town created this song called 4 Million Ways to Die with the exact same melody. And he went to the guy and he said, "Well, what do you think?" He says, "Well, I don't want to say too much. It does sound pretty similar, but what chance have we got of winning? You are one person living in the suburbs. What do you want to mortgage your house to pay your legal bills? What do you want to do? You could probably win it. It'll cost you 100 grand. You might win it. But what cost? For the knowledge of knowing that they did steal your song and that you won and you proved it, you've lost your house. Are you going to do that? You might win and you might get some money back, but probably not. So a lot of legal stuff is about, it's a bit of a game. Can we win? How much will it cost if we lose? Is it worth taking that risk? Like, as an example, someone was building a 3-story house next to us, and we said, "Oh, we got to fight that." So we went to this guy, and he says, "Look, I calculate you've got a 30% chance of winning, and it'll cost you 3 grand. I'm happy to do it." You got a 70% chance of losing and wasting your 3,000. Why don't you just have a chat to them and ask them if they can just make it 2 stories with a nice tree in the front? Right. So we didn't take them to court because there was a 70% chance we are going to lose our 3 grand and all that stress. So we didn't go. And we just had to chat to them and worked out some sort of arrangement. So legality it's costly. Legal stuff is costly. That's why I don't want to get involved in the legal stuff of music. I'm doing it for fun and I'm having a bit of fun with it on my PC, and a few people get to hear it, but I'm not making any money out of it. There's no commercial concern, in my opinion, which hopefully will protect me from any legal obligations. I'm only just playing around with fun like the other 30,000 people doing it. So to your point, Mike, how can they come after us? We're just using a software that's been available to us. How it's not our fault. We're using it. We're choosing to use it, but the software is there. Yeah. Very interesting. You're going to go, Bez? It's getting late.
Yes, I must exit stage left
Did you
as
have a bit of a chat to Shakira? Have you got that one started for us?
Shakira. Yes, I would love to have a chat with Shakira, but it was Samira.
Samira. That's right.
Yeah,
The Shakira of Iran. She's
yeah,
gorgeous. So you're going to help her out, and so that'll take its own course.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry I was a bit late. I wanted to pick up on the Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore thing, and I also
Sure.
wanted to play a bit around with the Pacific coast, just for something different.
Well,
What?
no, that's good. But I forgot I had to wake up early tomorrow, so
Yeah, you got
I'm
to go.
already
What about
nodding
you,
off.
Mike? You're getting late there. You want to go, or you still
Yes,
going?
I'm gonna go, so I'll exit stage left and have a wonderful evening. And thank you for a great conversation.
No worries. Now,
Good
Mike,
to
if
see
you
you,
want,
Bez.
I'm happy to play some of your songs, because yesterday we ran an experiment where we played one of your songs and my system collapsed, and they happened to coincide.
You
But
want
I
to
don't.
see if it does it again? We can do it.
Yeah.
Here,
So
let me.
can you play one of those heavier ones and drop down D, or the song you played yesterday was very good. Could have been on the radio.
Do you remember the name of it?
Uh, you were dressed in white as sort of like a white soldier. There was some sort of
Oh. Yeah, you're talking about the video.
well, obviously that's the video that was playing at the time because you've timed them up. But the song I was more interested in the song. I didn't watch the video, but you explained the video and you said there was this guy in white symbolizing purity. And
Yeah. That's the clarity. Clarity and chaos. That's about the normal. What's going on today and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And the style is called Coptic grunge, by the way.
Coptic grunge. Wow, with a K or C?
With a C.
C. Okay. Have you
Typo.
experimented with? While we're waiting for Mike to pull those songs up, have you experimented with songwriting? You're a poet, Sherry, and you play music. Have you ever combined them?
Not by myself, but I have had composer friends who's written pieces for me, inspired by my poetry. And I'm actually performing one of them in 2 concerts in France in January next year.
So you gave them the words and they composed a song?
Yeah. Actually, several composers have already done that.
Who sang it?
The they're not always the sung. There was one that's actually just recited. And so I've got a narrator, poet narrator, and I play piano, and then there's a viola d'amore. It's like an old viola, a baroque kind of viola, playing at the same time in the background. It's quite pretty. It's a New Zealand composer who wrote for me.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll pick up on that. So what are you going to play, Mike? And I'm really keen to see you do a show about this. Just push the go button and have a
Sorry,
go.
Keith, I'm having
You want to
trouble
go?
like hearing you. Or I might have to go out and come back and see if
All
I
right.
have
No
bad
worries.
luck.
Okay. We'll try it again. Um, how close are you to doing a show, Mike?
Well, I really want to, Keith, in order to get all this going, I really want to come up with a name of a studio slash label. Because I want to start monetizing. And in order to do that, I need to call myself something besides. Right now I have Cybervision, and that's just not cutting it. That's what I have up on Suno. So I have to figure out another label. And once I do that, everything else kind of falls into place, including.
Can't you do some shows on a like there's a very famous band in Australia called Cold Chisel, which had 18 hits. And when they toured, the first couple of gigs they did under a name Barking Spiders.
You could.
Just do a pseudonym. Just do a couple of shows. But that's okay. I mean, you can wait and wait and wait. Bez has been waiting since March.
No, I'm really pushing. I've been going crazy, dude. I've been trying to think of all, and I asked my wife because she's in marketing and she shoots them down or whatever. I may probably reach out to someone else and see if we can work something out to narrow down. I mean, I started with like 200, and that's just too many. I got kind of over stimulated.
What's in the name? What's in a name?
Everything.
I mean, if I said to you Electric Ladyland, do you know whose studio that was?
No. But dude, that's the other thing. I don't know. Like, I know songs. Like, like I didn't even know Queen was Queen until I don't know, like years later. Because I know I like a song. I know I can. Well, I can't recite all the words to the song, but I'm like, I like that song. And except for the Beatles, I mean, some of the really, really big bands, although Queen was kind of big. Like I knew the Beatles, I knew the Rolling Stones, I knew Black Sabbath, I knew Pink Floyd. But other than that, I mean, I didn't know a lot of other bands, and I loved their music. Like Steve Miller had tons of music that I liked, but I didn't know that he, huh?
Have you heard of the Foo Fighters?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave Grohl, who was the drummer with Nirvana, when Kurt Cobain died, he locked himself in his own basement and wrote an album, and he played every instrument. And he released that album. And then, this is exactly what the point I'm making. Then they said, well, what are you going to call the band? What do you mean a band? It's me. Yeah, but you're going to have to play this live. I played every instrument. Why do I need a band? Well, unless you're going to play it live. So anyway, he did a whole album, 12 songs in, I don't know what it was, 1995. Really good album. He played every instrument himself, invisible, anonymous. And then he said, well, we better release the album. What's the name of the band?
He called the Foo Fighters?
And he called it the Foo Fighters. That's how he came up with that name.
That is funny.
That's how he came up with it. He was up against the wall. Well, I don't know. Let's just call it Foo Fighters. What does that mean? I don't know. You asked me. I've got to have a name. I don't have a name.
Call it Who Flung Poo.
What?
Call it Who Flung Poo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the thing is that he then, as a result, said, oh, this is actually going pretty well. I better get a band. So he then went and got a drummer and a bass player and a keyboard player and a sax player. And then he had to do gigs because he can't play every instrument live by himself. But the album came first before the band. Right? And do you know the story of Boston? The song Boston by Boston, More Than a Feeling? Do you know that story?
Yep. Well, no, I know the story.
You do?
No, I don't.
So Boston, the band, wrote the whole album in their basement, and it was actually number one before anyone knew who they were. Like they'd never done a gig. And then suddenly this band who did an album in their basement, 1974, said, oh, we better go and do some gigs. And so the number one song was being played in the local bar by a band that had never played before together live, and people go, "Shit, that's number one, and this is our town." And the band was called Boston because they're from Boston, right? That's how they
That's
got the
funny.
name. They were from Boston, and they played in their basement, and then someone picked it up. I mean, sometimes you can wait too long.
No, I mean, dude, I wanted to get a catalog, right? I wanted to get enough to release, to, you know, I didn't want like one song or whatever. And all of a sudden, all of this creativity just poured out of me. And like I said, I did it in a bunch of different ways. I did the birthday songs, which of course I wouldn't stream or sell. My wife actually thinks that there was a couple other ones I wrote that she thinks are radio ready, and she has a pretty good ear. So
Play one of those. Tell us about that.
well, let's just do this one before. Actually, I don't know. I kind of like this one.
Okay.
So hold on.
Tell us what it is and how you write.
'Cause-
What's the premise?
Well, this is the one that's called "Finding Clarity with in the Chaos," and it's really about today. You know that there's a lot of division and noise and stuff going on, and so I'm just trying to figure everything out and find some clarity. So and it's really Keith. I mean, I don't know where you are in your life. I'm getting older, and I'm like, I'm just after my quad bypass, I'm like, I want to find purpose. I want more out of life than just making a buck. So that's what this is sort of a journey.
Yeah, I love it.
Finding...
I love this. This is good.
So here it goes.
Once Every tear that fell became the cost of the strength that I've now made. And in the quiet after thunder, I can finally hear me say, I'm finding clarity in the chaos of today.
Love it. Love it. I love that. I just love how
Yeah.
you know that this sort of duality, this duet. I don't think it's technically a duet, but it's this sounds very similar to a See the song. See the lead singer Sean Morgan was dating at that time the lead singer from Evanescence, Amy Lee, and they had a song called Broken, and sound brilliant. Like this song could be on the radio. It could be on the radio, couldn't it? It's that good. But of course, you probably haven't heard this song, so you're not stealing it. You're not stealing it from them because you haven't even heard it yourself.
Well, see,
But
this is my point. And I had my wife's friend who has like an encyclopedic memory for songs, and I didn't play that one for her, but I played another one. She said, "Oh, that sounds like blah blah blah." I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And again, I wrote the lyrics to these, so these are not. I'm not taking the lyrics, and from a legal perspective, I do know I completely own the lyrics because I'm not using Suno for that. I'm creating the lyrics myself. I actually want to find Smile. This one is a little more wooey. See if I can find it. Pop song. It's ambient. Probably not going to find it in time. But anyway, let's see if this is it. Yeah.
Freely given, lightens loads, heals wounds, bringing touching a heart, reaching out, showing love, itself reflected to the giver, reflected reflection. A benediction, a moment frozen in time, treasured forever.
I just realized that I was on low the whole time. that one, Keith, was written. That was taken right from the poem. This is a poem I wrote like, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but you didn't write the music.
No, no.
How did you? How did you? That sounds like it could be in Phantom of the Opera, or
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the prompt. Let me show you the prompt for this.
I can
This
imagine
is
musicals
sort.
being written this way now.
Yeah. So this is where making this prompt. You kind of have to learn how to write the prompts for this.
Mm.
And then you actually tell it like in here. Let me see if I can pull this, share it better.
Do you know do you know the fundamental difference between poetry and songwriting?
But
I mean, do you? They're not the same.
no, you have to change the whole. Well, first of all, you have to make it fit the music. Where poetry is spoken, normally spoken, it's not sung.
Yeah. So that was obviously a poem. There was no chorus,
Right.
and it was a long song. A song was a song, but there was no chorus, and there was no middle eight, and there was no
Yep.
repeating. There's no
Yep.
verses. So that in itself, I don't know if people want that, but I've always assumed songs had a verse and a chorus and a middle eight, a double chorus and a solo, and there's a structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm really interested in is, because I listened to the replay yesterday, what we're doing here is not good enough for a music-based show. It's cutting out and in and out, and I don't know what we're going to use. Because even Sherry was saying her phone's playing up and the music was cutting in and out, and it goes soft and it goes loud. It's not the radio. It's not. We hear it in our ears because we're hearing it pure from the source. But when it goes through all of this stuff and it comes out the other end, I'll be very interested to know what it sounds like on Substack. But on YouTube and LinkedIn yesterday, the sound was terrible. Really terrible. Like dropped out. Like listening to music underwater.
Wow. Because I could have sworn, I don't know if I listened to yours, but I'll have to go back and look. Because you might be right. Maybe I have to load these directly, like directly up to like YouTube. I mean, you raise a good point.
If you're going to do a show, we'll have to find a piece of tech that I think Riverside would work. Riverside is very high quality and it prides itself on high quality. I think that would work. It's not that expensive. I don't know if they've got a free version, but Riverside prides itself on high quality sound. I wonder whether that's worth researching. Have you thought of...
I'll have to listen to the replay on this, because if it's really bad, then that's going to impact me. Obviously, I don't want to impact the music. That's the whole kind of the whole point. I got to find out how Joshua Lee is doing it, because he's replaying it. And
he's got a roadcaster. He's got a roadcaster. They're $1,000.
Yeah, but how is he? No, but that doesn't explain. Like, I gave him my Suno thing, and he played it back.
Okay. Well, that's a very good point. Is he the person you were talking about that does it on YouTube?
No.
Or was that a different person?
That's a different person. And he's not doing music. He's, well, I mean, he does music too, but that's...
Because I was talking to Lanier yesterday, and she said that she regularly, on the same format, gets 100 to sometimes 500 comments in a show. But she said a couple of things. One is her shows only go for 1 hour.
Right.
They're a business-related show that has a guest. They're on LinkedIn. Right? So they're on LinkedIn and they're about LinkedIn, and they go for 1 hour. Right? They don't typically invite people in the audience to speak. So it's a different format. People come to the show because they want to learn, and if they want to make comments, they make the comments on the side. Right? So I think the format would probably dictate how people would respond. I particularly want to do a show where people come up on stage to talk, and a lot of people are reluctant to do that. I don't mind checking the comments, but I don't really particularly care about that because I mean, hello, Lynn. I can see you're listening on Substack now, so I can see that. But I've got to check that, and that's something that I'd rather not do. I'd rather talk to people. Yeah, so the format will dictate what happens. If we make it really, really easy for people to join, they will. I'm probably making it a bit unnecessarily difficult for people to join, which is why they don't. But for you, first things first, we've got to get a system that sounds good, because that's all you've got. Like it's a show about music. That it's got to sound good. That's all you've got, isn't it?
No, that's a fair point. I'm gonna have to run a test, Keith. And this is the thing I wasn't really happy about was when I think I mentioned when, like, for me to do what I just did. Well, wait a minute. I did this. Where else did I play? Well, I did it with you, but I thought I could have sworn I've played Suno's elsewhere, and it sounded okay. I'll have to go back and I'll have to figure out where else I've played, because I've given Any my Suno link, and he's played them too
They've sounded okay for him
on LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, okay. Now
But I'll go back. I'll have to go back and listen. You raise a good point, because if if the music is crap, and I will say even with Joshua, every once in a while there's, but it's still pretty clear. And then I'm trying to remember her name now. There's another woman, but she's using what you were just talking about, Riverside.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, dude, the friggin' pictures are crystal clear. It's probably 1080p, because this is. Yeah. Are we doing 1080p or 720p?
720. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even at the pro level, it's still 720.
Yeah.
Right.
So her stuff was crystal clear, and I'm guessing, whatever is probably at a higher voice quality too. So.
And for you, that'd be very important. So for the pricing structure for Riverside, it doesn't have a free version.
Right.
It starts at $24 a month, but that you get up to 4K, and here we are, 48K audio quality. Well, that's better than CD quality. CD quality is 44K. Right? Unbelievable. Like studio up to 4K.
That's the other thing I'm going to have to start upsampling or whatever, because I output WAV and MP3 out of Suno.
Yeah, the WAV file is much bigger, but it does sound better. So 48K, 48 kilohertz is the bandwidth.
Yep.
Like the studio CD quality is only 44.
Yeah.
So everyone's happy with 44. They do 48. So that's why it sounds so good. But it's $24 a month from the get-go. There's no free version. There's no there's no mucking around. You're into it. Right? You're being charged from the first day.
Hold on. Let me do the calculus here. That's a bit rough to sort out, at least for, Yeah, it's not actually. That's not bad. 24 a month, you said, right?
US, yeah. You'd probably get it slightly cheaper if you did it annually. That's the yearly price. The monthly price is 29, but if you get it yearly, paid yearly in advance, you do
Yeah,
get a
it's
14-day
288.
trial, but there's no free version.
Yeah. Well,
If that's what you want to do, like if that's what you want to do, there's another site that I keep hearing about, but I can't remember the name of it. It's a radio station, a radio simulator. Um,
oh,
now that I've got my mind out around for that, I'll have a look for you. But you've got a very unique show. The point is to play the songs, and the songs are the point.
yep.
But what I'm really interested in is, do you have an objection to setting up a free teaser on SoundCloud, or does that just feel wrong?
Well, when you say teaser, let's talk about this actually, because I can do little 15-second clips on TikTok and then drive. I don't know, 15 seconds. That's the question. Is 15 seconds long enough?
Well, we're asking two different questions. One is, the teaser is someone says, "Hey, I've heard you can write a song. Do you have any samples?"
Oh, okay. So that it's a complete demo. It's not. It's not.
It's a demo.
Yeah.
When we used to go to pubs and say, "Look, can we play on Saturday night?" It says, "Well, you got a demo? You
Yeah.
played anywhere
Okay.
else before? What do you
Yeah.
sound like?" Well, here's a demo of 6 songs we recorded just right last week, and we played
Yeah.
at the pub up the road 3 weeks ago, so you can ring them if you want. So when people used to ring me and say, "Mate, can you come and speak at my event?" I can. You got any sort of information about what you talk about? Yep, I do. Here's a 10-part series of me. This is what I'll talk about at your event. Just have a listen to that. And if that's what you want me to talk about, I'm in. If not, I'm not offended. I'm busy enough. And I gave them all of the information up front. And then I just simply go and deliver that live. So if someone, this is what I'm thinking. You can do all the teasing you want in the universe, but eventually someone's going to have to ring you and say, "Hey, we got a wedding. Can you
Yeah.
make a song that sounds a little bit like Britney Spears and, Annie Lennox? And can you sort of keep it in a really low minor key thing, like really somber?" And yep, I can do that. Have you got any samples?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's a
got
good
this
point.
15-second clip on TikTok. Well, I'm not on. No, I want to hear
Well,
complete songs, like so you
well,
can have.
yeah,
I
I could
just
do. I mean, I could do. Well, I can already do that on Suno, dude. But to your point, that's not a show. So I can do a playlist on a demo playlist on Suno
well, you
and
could
say
do that.
here's my
Do it that way, but
yeah.
in a way, you're thinking about, you're front loading it. What happens when, not if, what happens when someone calls you and say, "Hey, I want a special song for my 50th." I can do that. You got any samples?
Yep.
Yeah, I do. Here's all the songs I've done so far. Have a listen to that, and then you
Mm,
come back to me and say, "Well, I like that third song. You did something like that. Can you make it with a female voice, and can I have a trumpet solo in that?" So
yep.
you got to give them something to start with,
Yeah.
because
No, that's
eventually
fair
people
enough.
will call you. They will call you.
But I already have tracks up on Bespoke on the
Well, you
Substack.
okay? Well, you could. Okay, so you're doing that.
Yeah.
You could send them there. Like, I want to share this story. This is a very funny story. This guy, I had my first pitch slap on Substack last week, and the guy says, "Hey, I noticed you're on Substack. Do you need any help with that?" Well, he's got 24 followers. Well, I mean, if you have a look, I've got 45 followers, and I googled you, and I couldn't find you on the internet.
Oops.
What are you doing? Who are you? What are you offering me? What, I can't see any examples of your work, right? I really appreciate the fact that you're coming at me with your services, but I googled you and I can't find you. There's
Yeah.
nothing there.
No, that's
And he
fair.
came back to me, says, "No, all I'm teaching is Substack monetization. I don't have a website. I don't have a LinkedIn page. I don't have a YouTube channel. And I'm just starting. I got 24 followers." Yeah, well, I've got twice as many followers as you, and I've got a website, and I've got a LinkedIn page, and I've got a YouTube channel, and I've been doing this 20 years. What could you possibly do for me? And why would I pay you? And it floored him. But that's what we do. We Google them, right? We Google people.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be SoundCloud, of course. It could be Suno, it could be Substack, but you've got to have a sample page. What do you
No,
do?
yeah. Well, that's what bespoke musica is. That's why I actually built the Substack publication of.
So you could actually have and this is a very good strategy. Here is a typical wedding song.
Yeah.
And the wedding song post, how I did it, what I did, what I chose, what instruments I
Yep.
used, what's my inspiration.
Yep.
Then have a rock song page, have a happy 50th page, have a happy 21st, happy bar mitzvah, happy, honeymoon page. So each of those could become a very cool post. Like each of your songs could be a post. What did you do? There's the lyrics. And I'm all for this because I Google people. Like it's all about reputation, isn't it?
Actually, that's a good question, though, Keith. Is Substack Googleable?
I don't think its SEO is very good.
Uh,
This is actually if you've hit the nail on the head right here. This is the reason why I love Substack. I love SoundCloud. SoundCloud has fantastic SEO. I want you to do this one day, not necessarily today, but I want you to Google my name, and I want to find out what you see there in your town. When Zara, who came on yesterday, was on, she Googled me, and I was number 3 in the world for SoundCloud in her town. And she goes, Keith, I Googled you and you were number 3 in SoundCloud for my name, from what I do. So, I've got a LinkedIn page, I've got a Facebook page, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a Substack account, I've got a SoundCloud account. But of all the things that I've got, SoundCloud comes up number 1 for my name, for what I do. There's other Keith Kellers. That's why I'm saying this. There's a couple of other Keith Kellers. There's a quite famous baseball player, quite a famous motorcycle rider. There's an orthopedic surgeon. And I think there was actually another muso, right? So people are saying, oh, you're that Keith Keller. So that might not happen to you. But when this guy said to me, can I help you with your branding? I said, well, I don't know if you can, because I can't find you. And what are you going to teach me? I mean, I'm not saying that as an ego. I'm just saying, if I'm going to pay you money, you've got to do something that I can't do myself. And what are you doing? Like, I can't find you. You don't have a good brand. How can I trust that you'll help me with my brand? And more importantly, do something I can't do myself. So this is how I would do it. If I came to you and said, oh, can you write me a song for my 40th birthday? However long ago that was. I'd say, have you ever done this? Have you done this before? Have you got any samples? I like these bands. You got anything in this style? This is how I would do it. Here's my 10 favorite bands. Anything like this? You got a ZZ Top version, a Status Quo, a Blackstone Cherry Seether, or Alter Bridge, Bon Jovi. I mean, have you got anything like that? Oh, yeah. Right. You've reminded me. I've got this really cool thing like Bon Jovi. I think you'll like this. Because we all have our own style of music. Like what we need to do, you and I, as a present to Bez, because he's never going to do it himself, is we need to write a song for him in the spirit of Bad Bunny. Man, between you and me, I don't like Bad Bunny. I don't like that style of music, but I'm prepared to make some music for him in that style. It might not be very authentic because I just can't get my head around what he's doing, but I get it. He's pretty popular. So you and I could probably write a song in that style and send it to Bez, and he'd love it. And he's never going to do it. So he's in a way your ideal client because he can't do it himself. And that's what people are going to do. They're going to come to you and say, I really like Shania Twain or Britney Spears or, Celine Dion. can you write a song that we can play on the Titanic as we're sinking? Can you do that type of song for me? Yeah, I can do that. It'd be a great challenge. It'd be just a fantastic challenge. I just love it. So what we've done today, I'm very proud. We've done it. We've done this show to 3 places. Are you doing shows? Are you doing what do you do on Substack? What do your posts consist of? You said you got 4 publications.
Well, okay, so I have a poet one, the poetry one, but certain poems I've turned into songs. So, and one of those has video. So I have videos, I have tracks, and then I have poetry on that publication. Then I have Bespoke Musica, which has the tracks and uh, I think I sent you to the one video. It's eh. It's my best video so far, and I am using Cling to do the clips and then CapCut to string them
Yeah.
together.
Look, there's a lot in
Uh,
this, and it's good. Like someone's got to do this. The average person in the street
yeah,
will not do it themselves,
no,
and we
but
need to be
I'm
paid for that, don't we? We need to be paid for our
yeah, and
time.
yes, and that's the difference, right? Keith is can you do it? Do you have the ear? Do you have the to your point, you had that guy, that went to your friend and said, I have this song in my head. Can you make it? I'm like, no, because I can't crime in your head. And by the way, Keith, I will say, I'm a little worried because I've done graphic for people, and they couldn't describe what they wanted, and so I was kind of in an endless loop, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to have to your point, I'm going to have to kind of know how to guide the client, and you've already mentioned if it's in the if it's too close to any of these famous songs, I could get a strike or a problem with copyright infringement. So I'm going to say, well, I can do it in the style of, but it's not going to sound like it because I think I'm going to get into, and I would probably maybe even hit up a lawyer because I don't want to be, I mean, Bez did bring up a point which I was thinking about doing already, and that is probably starting an LLC and then getting some sort of liability insurance if I'm going to, do this full time. But the liability stuff would probably be more for the streaming and the selling of, not necessarily the events.
But you've
Or
got
maybe
a
make it
good
retail.
solid model. Look, if you had 10 different songs, and the
Yep.
person who doesn't know anything about music said, "Look, that third song where there was a bit of a piano and a female
Yep.
singer,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
let's
Yep.
start there."
Yeah.
And
No, I could do that, and but I'm only gonna do. I mean, that's the thing. And I'll have to actually write this up. You bring some good points up. I'm gonna have to write this up and say, look, my time is worth money. So if you're gonna have endless rewrites, then I'm not gonna do it.
yeah,
So
most graphic designers do is they give you a premise. So for $50, I'll throw you an
yeah,
idea, 3 rewrites. For
yeah,
$100, I'll give you 2 ideas, 6 rewrites.
yeah,
And so if we get it straight away, that's brilliant. But you've got 6 turns because my time is valuable, and you probably don't know
yeah,
what you want. And for $200, it's 10 examples, unlimited rewrites. That might be it. Might be $50, $100, $200. Unlimited rewrites until you're happy, right? And then you'll have to set that price wherever that is, 250, 500. But for $100, I'll send you 2 examples, and we can have 3 rewrites,
yeah.
and that's the price. That's the product, if you like. And if you've got to write the lyrics too, well, that's really hard. Like you're going to write
It
lyrics,
is.
that's really hard. But if someone,
Well, because for me, and what I did today, just to let you know, like for the ones like Jackie. I can't remember her last name, but she does the show Just Jacks, and she loved it. Well, I did a bunch of research, and went to her LinkedIn, and then I watched her a couple of her shows. So, but that's pro bono, and I can't remember how long. I mean, the doing of it wasn't that long. It was all the research, and that's kind of true of a lot of things. Um, and my poetry is the same way. It's. And to your point, you have an intro. Usually I write 3 or 4 verses, a chorus, a bridge, and an outro. So, and I'm trying to keep them within like 3 minutes or 3 to 4 minutes. Anything longer than that, people don't.
Most people won't know how hard it is for you to do it.
Yeah.
They'll just want the finished product, and no one knows how. I don't know how long it takes a guy to make an Indian curry when I go there. It costs me $20. I turn up. I don't know how long he's been in the kitchen. I just turn up and go, "Oh, that's pretty yummy. That takes me 10 minutes to eat. How much do you want? And can I get some samosas with that?"
No, that's completely fair. Well, because for me, the prep is equivalent to doing the prep, right? The prep is what probably takes the longest. At least, like when I'm cooking, the prep is what takes the long time, not the cooking. Yeah, that's equivalent to all the prep that I do to get it into lyrics, and then I put it. Although that's not true either, because after I put into Suno, I listen to it, and then I typically almost every song not every song, but most of the songs I've done, I end up doing some lyric change.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't sound quite like I thought it was going to.
I had a very, very interesting thought about this. And this is partially why I don't want to do it. I am a creative, and I would hate to spoil my creative flow by charging for it. And I know that sounds silly because
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't at all. Because, dude, that's why I didn't become a commercial artist. I used to draw as a kid, and I started taking art courses, and I actually took some courses in college. And I just said, because I had done some work for my then mother-in-law, and I don't know if you've ever done commissioned work, but I don't like doing commissioned work because you're doing it goes back to what I just talked about with these other people that didn't know what they wanted. She knew what she wanted, but it takes, I don't know how to describe it, but it takes something out of the flow or the whatever, the creativity when you're doing a commission. So that's something I do have to think about, and that's the other reason, Keith, that I'm thinking I'll just create the tracks, put them on Bandcamp and streaming
you can do it
platforms.
that way. Yeah, you
And
created them and you love them. Yep.
Yep.
You're charging for it.
Yeah, you love them or you don't, and if you don't, then I say, oh, give it a good go. I kind of want to do both, but it seems like the more we talk, it seems like this. I like this idea of the custom or bespoke, but I think it's gonna. I don't know. You got me thinking now. I'm gonna have to worry about. There's no way to do endless rewrites.
Yeah.
So I would have to come up with some sort of package. To your point.
Well, my wife loves traveling, but she's also a financial planner during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people that travel and work at the same time. I think that I personally think that muddies the water. When we travel, we're traveling. We're away. We're together. We're having fun. We're looking at things. When we're working, we're working. Right? And I don't know what had happened if Carol traveled and worked at the same time, whether her work would become better or worse, and whether the traveling would be spoiled. Because when you're traveling, you're in a holiday mode, right? You're going. Yeah. So we travel to rest for 4 weeks. Don't do any work. Never do any work. Never. I check my phone and maybe talk to people, but I don't do any sort of live streams or any creative things. I'm with Carol, and we're traveling, and we're seeing things, and we're there, right there. These sort of digital nomads, I'd be very fascinated to know what it's like, because they're working at midnight in this coffee shop in Bali, trying to pump out this document they've got to get done before the client rings them the next day. And I'm thinking, well, that's just work. Sure, you're in a coffee shop in Bali, but I would rather go to Bali and enjoy it and then come home and work. I would rather keep those separated. That's why I'm a little bit dubious about making money from writing music. Luckily we've paid off the house, so I can do this for fun now. But the question, of course, then is, well, how else do you make money? What else do you do? What else is there? Well, there's 100 other ways to make money. And never the.
But what else are you doing, Keith? I know this is a personal question, but what are you doing to keep out of trouble?
That is a good question. Like, it has occurred to me to come to unretire, because one of the reasons I've decided to have October off is I wanted to challenge myself and ask the question, am I just doing the shows because I've got nothing to do, or do I really love them? And is there a better use of my time? Right. I haven't planned any shows for October. And what am I doing? I'm doing shows because I love doing them. I just gravitate back to it, right?
No, but I think, Keith, and I'm trying to prepare at some point, and this is why I'm also doing this, right? Is I'm trying to prepare for retirement. I can't do nothing. I would go nuts. So I see this as one thing that I could do in retirement, and I also can do this because of the tools. I can do this on the go. So I could be at the beach relaxing. And I don't know how your creativity works, but sometimes I get an idea and I have to at least write the idea down, because otherwise I kind of will lose it. And we lost Keith. He's back.
Yeah. So in spite of my 520, I still lost it. But we've been going 5 hours. You were on a bit of a roll there. You said you're preparing for
Retirement. Yeah. And one of the things I do, Keith, is I'll get like an inspiration. So I have to at least write like the idea down, otherwise I'll forget it. And so I'm preparing to do at least some level of this, and you kind of almost talked me into the streaming and selling on Bandcamp idea versus the the custom stuff. But anyway, regardless, my creativity is, the more I think about this, the more I won't do bespoke.
It might spoil it for you, do you think?
Well, because there's two different, and this isn't egotistical, but there's two different ways. I would rather, and by the way, I wanted to do this with my photography and my painting too. I don't know if you've ever seen, and I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but there have been certain very well-known artists and whatever that you have to go to them, and they tell you what they're going to do. It's not like you tell them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because you like their, I don't know, let's pick Da Vinci or something. And I don't know if this was true of Da Vinci, because I think he had to work for princes and whatever. But let's say I'm so good that people come to me, and then they can ask me to do a certain painting, but after that, it's done. They're out of the picture.
You're like Mozart, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no rewrites. This is like, okay, you asked me, I took all that information in, and I created a masterpiece for you. And that's it. There's no rewrites, there's no nothing.
Yep.
And to be honest, that's kind of what I've been doing so far with these folks because they're getting it for free. It's like, but I still do different variations. And there was a couple that needed a few things taken out, and because they had some objections to the actual words. I'm like, yeah, I can do that, no worries. But you've actually gotten me thinking a lot more as to maybe I will focus more on the streaming slash selling of tracks versus the
Yeah.
other one.
Do your thing, and maybe it is bespoke, but the rewrites is the thing that comes back to you. Like when Mozart wrote one of his famous operas, the Kapellmeister, I said, "Oh, look, there's a lot of dancing in this.
Yep.
The King of Austria doesn't like dancing, so you have to take out the dancing." Well, what do you mean? There's this 16-minute part right in the middle of this dance. It's perfect. I wrote it. It's perfect. You have to take it out. Right, and the king comes and they see this little thing where there's no music, and the people are still dancing, and he said, "What's this?" Well, your ruling says I can't have this. Well, that's a bit silly. Put it back. So Mozart was at the beck and call of the King of Austria, but
Yeah.
and there was no choice then, like in the 1700s. But we have a choice, and I'm purely creative, and I'm a little bit sort of left in that way, but a little bit forceful in that way. But the point is that if you do it too far the other way, it just becomes a job. And then what have you got as a nice hobby? Your hobby's your job, and your job's your hobby. Then what do you do?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And to your point, absolutely, I would if I was going to do the bespoke thing, I would that would if I went vacay, that's vacay is vacay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that stuff on. I'm not even going to take a call on. That would have to go to whatever, and I would set something up on electronically that they put a form in or something, and I'd make it clear. Here's my schedule. I don't, I'm away.
Yeah. It's very important. And look, we probably got a signal there that it's time to wrap up. We've been going for 2
Yep.
hours. What I'm going to do, I'm very
Yep.
excited about this. I'm going to let Substack run this and create its own file, and from that it will create 4 to 5 little snippets. That's why I want to use it. That's the main reason I want to use it. I want to try these files, and I want to see whether or not it creates reasonable snippets for me to use again. Because you are right, LinkedIn's not doing us any favors.
No, I mean, to me, Substack has a lot of tools for repurposing, and not just repurposing, but replatforming, if you will. LinkedIn isn't doing that, and you have to go to Restream to get. Yes, you can send it to LinkedIn, but LinkedIn's not doing anything for you, and they're not allowing you to chop it up. Uh, the only thing Lanier said was that it sits on your profile or whatever, maybe forever. I don't know, but I'm like, okay, so LinkedIn didn't create it. I created it, or it landed on LinkedIn. It's not like I'm doing actually. I'm trying to think. You always need something to do a LinkedIn live, right? You can't just
It doesn't have any inbuilt tech anymore.
right. So I'm like, what are you offering me? I mean, yes, I mean, it's a business platform, yada yada yada, and there's you can network on it, but I'm finding more and more, particularly the reach thing. I don't want to have to guess as to who's seeing my stuff.
Yeah. Well, do you want to? You may not know Jason's story, but Jason, as we chatted today, he's on the verge of quitting his day job as a teacher
Yeah,
to sell videos about dogs.
yeah,
That's his passion. He's got 2 really cool dogs, and 249,000 followers on Instagram,
yeah.
selling T-shirts and stuffies. He's been doing it 6 years, but he's building up. He's right on the cusp of deciding whether or not he can afford to not work as a teacher.
But
How
there,
cool is
he's
that?
doing his passion, right? And this is kind of what we were talking about is he's doing his passion. He's passionate about the dogs. People are not going to come to him and say, do the XYZ. I mean, they'll follow him because they like his stuff, But and by the way, dog stuff is huge. My wife watches endless. She likes the golden doodles, and apparently there's a ton of golden doodle videos out there.
Well, she might
And
even have heard of this guy, but you know, people
anyway,
follow him and then they go, "Well, can I get a stuffy of your dog for my kid? And can I get a T-shirt of your dog for my husband?" And he's seriously considered having alliances with pet insurance companies and dog food brands, and
wow,
he's he's right at that level. And
yeah.
he was on our
Well,
call. Like, he's in Alberta, actually, Red Deer. I think he's in Red Deer, Alberta, and or might be Medicine Hat. But he's doing it, and he's our friend.
yep.
So that's why I do these shows, because I just want to give everyone a turn and tell. I don't really know that much myself. I just want to give everyone a turn to speak. We learn from each other.
Yeah, and this is the thing I don't understand. I think, and I bring up on other shows this idea of scarcity and abundance, and I think scarcity basically says I have a skill and I'm so scared that someone's gonna like figure out what I'm doing that I'm not gonna share any information with them. I'm like, how about collaboration and not competition? And I think there's enough ways to make income out there. You have to work on them. I mean, the very successful entrepreneurs, in some cases they've been serial entrepreneurs, but in some cases they've had failures first, and then they did well. You don't necessarily do well out of the shoot. Anyway, I got to run, dude. It's been a major pleasure.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at this, and I've sent you some screenshots with the timestamps so we can go back and have a look at them. I'm going to finish this off and let Substack do its thing. I'll play my
Awesome.
little 7-second hustle, my 7-second theme song, and I'll finish the show.